Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Dr. Sharad Deshmukh. Today we will start our today's topic. We are studying sterilization and disinfection, and today is our part 4. In this part, we are going to study the chemical agent. Earlier we have already studied the alcohols, aldehydes and the dyes. Today we are going to study the next chemical agents, that is halogens and the phenols. Let us start with the next chemical agent, that is the halogen. It is the most widely used disinfectant nowadays and commonly used for the disinfections. Among the halogens are the iodine, chlorine and the fluorine. Although in some books it is not mentioned about the fluorine, but it is also in the common use. So in this case, the first we will see about the iodine, which is the most commonly used disinfectant and we are using commonly as an antiseptic. So this iodine works mainly by oxidizing the cellular components including the sulfur containing amino acids, nucleotides and fatty acids, and these get destabilize the macromolecules that contains these molecules and helps in killing the microorganism. Iodine can be used as a plain iodine solution as well as it is commonly used in the alcoholic solution, and that we call as the tincture of iodine, and which has been used widely as a topical skin disinfectant. But one of the disadvantages in this solution is it can cause staining and skin irritation, but still it is one of the powerful disinfectant as compared to the plain iodine solution. In this case of the halogen, in iodine there is the one more form, that is the iodophores, and it is the compound of the iodine with the organic molecule, and it is forming the compound iodophore. And this iodophores, why it is used? Because it increases the stability and efficacy, and most commonly used iodophore is the proidone, and this iodine is able to release the iodine slowly. That's why it can act for the longer period. The commercially available solution of the proidone is the betadine. Everybody is well known about the betadine. It is commonly used as the hand scrub before surgery and also for the topical application, that is the antisepsis for the patient's skin, and it is most widely used. Betadine is more familiar for most of the people particularly working in the medical field, and it is actively bactericidal with moderate against the spore. Although it is mentioned it is moderate against the spore, but still it is able to act to some extent on the spore also. It is also active against the tubercle bacilli as well as the viruses. Now you can know about the iodophore, which are most commonly used because they are acting for the longer period. And instead of the plain iodine solution, the iodophores are in the common use. That the best example we have seen here, that is the betadine. In the halogen group, the next most important compound which is most commonly used is the chlorine. As far as the chlorine is concerned, the chlorine and its compounds have been used as a disinfectant. The chlorine gas is used in the municipal water supplies and swimming pools and wastewater treatment, and this is the chlorine commonly used in the gas form. Secondly, in addition to the plain chlorine gas, we are also commonly using the calcium hypochlorites and sodium hypochlorite. There is a compound of the chlorine which releases the chlorine when they are added, and these compounds are commonly used in the disinfection of the dairy equipments and restaurants. The other compounds like the iodophores of the chlorine is the chloramines. These are more effective and they are also the relatively stable, and these are also releasing the chlorine for the longer period. Just we have seen earlier in the iodophore they release the iodine slowly for the longer period. Similarly, the chloramines are also released very slowly, and that's why they are acting for the long period. That's why they may be used for the disinfection of the drinking water so that they can act for the longer period. And the best example here you can mention, that is the chloramine T, which is in the common use. These chlorine compounds have the germicidal action mainly due to the formation of the hypochlorous acid, where the plain chlorine, suppose Cl2, will react with the water, it will result into the formation of the HClO, that is the hypochlorous acid. This hypochlorous acid further get decomposed to form a nascent oxygen, and also it releases the free chlorine, and that will combine with the protein, so that the release of the nascent oxygen which will disturb the microbial cell, and the chlorine which combine with the protein of the cell will also help to destroy the microorganism. That's why this chlorine and the chlorine compound has the better bactericidal activity. The third agent, although it is not mentioned in most of the books, that is the fluorine, and it is everybody know that we are knowing about the well known about the toothpaste. They are using the fluorine. So here they are used for the prevention of the dental caries. The fluoride is active ingredient in most of the toothpaste, and that is everybody is well known about that one. And these are added to the tap water to maintain the oral health in the communities. So not only it is added in the toothpaste, also it is added to some extent to the water which is used by the community, so that it will help to maintain the oral health in the people which are using this tap water containing the fluorine. This is also introduced into the hydroxypeptide of the tooth enamel, and which make it more resistant to corrosive acid produced by oral microbes. So oral microbes, they are able to produce the acid, and these are the corrosive one acid produced by this microorganism, and due to the addition of this in the enamel, which will become more resistant to these microbes which are able to produce the corrosive acids. And this not only help to prevent the growth of these microbes, but also the fluoride enhances the uptake of the calcium and the phosphate ions in the tooth enamel, and ultimately they are promoting the remineralization. So it is more helpful for the human beings. The next compound will come to the phenols. The phenols is not used as only as the phenols, but also the in the various compounds of the phenols are used. And this phenols is obtained by the distillation of the coal tar at 170 degrees centigrade to 270 degrees centigrade. And the use of the phenol was first introduced by the surgeon, that is the Joseph Lister, in 1965. He used first time phenol for the washing of the equipments which are used for the surgery, and he reported there is a tremendous decrease in the death rate after the surgery. And from that time the phenol is in the use, and it is mostly commonly used as a standard to determine the effectiveness of the other chemical agent which act as a disinfectant, because it was used at first, and that's why the Joseph Lister is also known as the father of antiseptic surgery. In addition to this plain phenol, the phenolic derivatives, they have been also used widely as a disinfectant for the various purposes in the hospitals, and these are having the lethal effect mainly on the cell membrane, and they will damage the cell membrane, and ultimately that will result into the release of the cell content, and that result into the lysis of the cell. So they are having the very powerful effect, ultimate lysis of the cell. And the most commonly used compound of the phenol is the lysol, and it is mainly containing the cresol, and it is commercially it is known as the lysol. This cresol, you can see here the structure of the cresol having the CH3 group attached at the different site, that is the first, third and the fourth site. It is used as the one of the powerful disinfectant, and as it is active against the wide range of the organisms, hence it is the good general disinfectant, although it is having some toxic property to humans, so it must be handled very carefully. So the various combinations are used in control of the pyogenic cocci in surgical and neonatal units in the hospital. Particularly is the cresol in the form of the lysol, it is used in the hospital to reduce the pyogenic cocci in surgical and neonatal units. Ultimately, it will help to reduce the hospital infection which is caused after the surgical procedures. The aqueous solutions are also used in the treatment of the wounds because it is in the aqueous form. To treat the wounds, ultimately it will act on the microorganism and help to reduce this flora. The one of the most important another compound of the phenol is the hexyl resorcinol. This hexyl resorcinol, you can see here the structure, and this hexyl resorcinol is marketed as a solution in glycerin and water, and it is commonly used in the mouthwashes, cup drops and the gargles. So everybody is well known about the mouthwash and the cup drops, and it is also used for the gargling, where it mainly containing the component that is the hexyl resorcinol in combination with the glycerin and water. The next compound of the phenol is the hexachlorophene. This hexachlorophene, you can see here the structure of hexachlorophene, and this is used commonly in the soaps and in oils and also in the creams as an antiseptic. So we everybody will know that there are a number of antiseptic creams are available where they are using the hexachlorophene, one of the compound in these soaps, in oils and the creams, and ultimately it helps to control the flora of the skin. Particularly it is more effective against the gram positive bacteria. The next important compound is the chlorhexidine. This chlorhexidine solution is a topical aqueous cleaning solution. Topical means it is applying locally, and hence it is used for the application to superficial cuts, abrasions or the insect stings. It is in the common use. It is also effective against the bacteria, fungi, ringworm and yeast that cause the infection. So this will clearly shows that it is having the wide activity against the number of microorganisms, bacteria, fungi, ringworm, yeast, and that are able to cause the infection. So they are commonly applied locally on the surface of the skin when there is the cuts or the abrasions or the any insect stings. So herewith we complete about the phenolic compound, and thank you for watching my video. Please like, share and subscribe to my channel, and we'll see the remaining agent in the next lecture. Thank you.